Oh my gosh. If you want to talk about never a doubt from the opening kick to that final whistle to the new kicker whose name we still don't know yet. 43-3, the Cowboys pound the Atlanta Falcons into much deserved oblivion. It is the Texas Porch Podcast. I'm JP. Yes, we are back. It'll all make sense in the future. Took a little time off last week, not planned around that Broncos route. But Josh, great to be back, especially after that bloodletting on the good side for a change up there in Arlington. How are you, and what a game yesterday?
Oh, all is good here. That was a nice, I guess, get back to normal of what the season's been outside of that Denver game where it was just a total disaster. You're never a doubt's usually very, very much in jest, but yesterday it really lived up to it because after it got to about 14-3, it was just, maybe 21-3, you knew there wasn't a chance for them just because they'd come to play. So it's nice to have those non-stressful games every once in a while where you can just sit back and enjoy it. And if you've got something to do, doesn't matter if you miss half the second half. I was there for the whole thing, but it really, if somebody wanted to take a walk, they didn't miss anything if they left after it went 36-3 by halftime.
Are you reading my notes? Are you somehow coming a 100 or so miles and reading my notes? Because that's exactly what I did. And we might talk about this as the show wraps up. You can bust me in the nether regions as you so choose, but had Christmas, I guess you text me, busting me in the nether region, so why not bring that to air? But yeah, last week I was caught in purgatory, being down in so happy with a great area we moved in, but we're out of that Dallas Mavericks coverage area, and we are in the JV team of Texas coverage area, and it was overlapping, and I could not watch it. Plus, with some life duty I had to do, I was like, well, then I finagled with Josh to get one of his 17 passwords. I was going to watch. I did watch the first half, but thankfully, like on both ends of the spectrum, I didn't have to watch the second half. So for all the dozens and dozens out there, that's why we didn't have the show last week. But man, what a great one to miss last week, and what a great one to watch this week as the Cowboys absolutely pulverized the Falcons. I can't remember, Josh. I'm not kidding you. And I'm trying to mix in just some different things. Hey, maybe do these not right after. As the wife points out, I don't like Cowboys JP before and during the game. She doesn't like that. So I'm trying some different avenues, maybe doing it a day or so after like we did a couple weeks ago. And I thought it at the time, and I am here to tell you now on November the 15th, 2021, as I record this in live recorded airspace, that was the biggest country butt kicking I have seen in a Cowboys win since their first Super Bowl. And it's not saying they're definitely going to win, but I don't remember a throttling that happened to that nature. And it wasn't even that I took glee from it, but they absolutely named their score in that one. It could have been much worse. They're going for 2 up 32 points. I guess it was 31 to make it a 5-score game, and then there was that penalty mixed in there. But, man, first off, can you remember a bigger rout? We've been on the ones on the other side of things, the 44-6 end of the season. Tony Romo's big comment, if this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, I've lived a pretty good life. What was that, 2008, 2010 or so? But, man, do you remember a bloodletting more than what was witnessed yesterday?
I don't know. There's been some routes even in our favor, but I don't remember one like that. I was thinking, like, in the midst of it, it's almost like when Ohio State's playing pick your random, pick whoever, and it just gets so out of hand, and from the start that that's what's going to happen, because NFL games just aren't that lopsided. Like a good tail kicking in the NFL is usually a 3-touchdown game, something like that. And it's like, it's just with the NFL, you don't get many games like that. I think this wasn't Cowboys involved. I remember there was one time the Patriots were playing the Titans, I think, and they beat them like 56-0 in the snow. And that was one of those games that I can remember that's like that. But I don't remember many 40-point wins in the Cowboys' favor since that time. And even back then, that was, that wasn't too common. I was at a Redskins game. Well, not the Redskins anymore. It's the football team. But whenever they were playing the Cowboys back in '95, I think, and that was like 38-3. And I remember just thinking, man, that's something. And so that was even worse than that. But yeah, that was. Just you don't see many like that in the NFL.
So I don't know where to start in this one. Early, some of the notes I wrote down is just the difference that Michael Gallup made in the offense. And I mean, there wasn't anything that just jumped out at you stat wise, but the two early, the CD Lamb, the touchdown catch where he got it just inside the line, the end zone, and popped back out. He set the tone offensively in that game. And I thought Jordan Lewis had an amazing game defensively. And in fact, I just read before signing on here, Pro Football Focus rated him as the number one defender in week 10. So he had the pick. The Cowboys now with that Diggs pick, maybe starting another Diggs streak. Cowboys with Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis, and of course, Trayvon Diggs, they've got 13 picks as a team in that trio. I'm trying to remember who else might have some picks mixed in there, but Dan Quinn, that's the other key. They scored the points, but it was Dan Quinn. You have to know, and he got the game ball probably because of this. He had that extra motivation after getting dismissed, and this might just be a one and done with him. But man, I'm glad he is up in that blue and silver press box, because what he was able to do without so many key parts, I was going to get to that in a little bit. You're seeing guys out there that we haven't seen in so long, but Dan Quinn is the MVC of this team, most valuable coach, and credit McCarthy too. As crazy as this sounds with Kellen Moore putting up the offensive wonders, I think what Dan Quinn has done for this defense, it's about where it came from last year. It has been nothing short of an NFL miracle to see this big. Just watching the individual games to see what he's been able to do with 80% of the same defense mostly. That's been a thing of beauty to behold. And that is the one thing. Kellen Moore's been good, but Dan Quinn has made the difference for this team this year, I think.
He's been great, and it was good yesterday to get back to that, because they did have the one game against Denver where it didn't look pretty at all. So you have that one, and of course NFL's overreaction for everything.
Yeah.
You can't just have a bad week and say, oh, it was a bad week, which kind of is what it looked like now, that was just a terrible week for Dallas. I mean, then the Broncos go back and get drilled by the Eagles yesterday. So, but yeah, after last week, it was good to get back to that. And when the Cowboys get turnovers in games like that yesterday, you'd think going in, they're definitely the better team. And then when you win the turnover battle with whatever they did, +3 or whatever it was, then the Falcons don't really even don't stand a chance. It's not that you're expecting the 43-3, but the teams that win turnover battle usually win the game. When the better team wins the turnover battle by multiple ones, then that's really going to be in their advantage. And the really big key has been those turnovers, because I don't remember the numbers from last year, but they didn't hardly get any of them last year. So just being able to get there, and Diggs, I know you probably on the radio broadcast, but they were saying, maybe it was Olsen on the TV broadcast, was saying when the ball is in the air, it's just like, it seems like it's his if he's got a chance at it. He's not the typical defensive back where it goes off his hands, because that wasn't an easy interception he had yesterday, but he went up and grabbed it like it was nothing. So,
against the sideline like that, the way he kind of,
I mean,
that wide receiver's touch like he was groomed, and Nick Saban made that switch early on in his Alabama career. Go on, but yeah, you're exactly right. He looks just like a wideout.
It's almost like he's got a brother that's an NFL star or something. But
yeah, that helps too.
But yeah, and then there was one interception where the guy just kind of yanked it away from him. So yeah, just overall, I mean, the turnovers are the big story, and if they get a couple of those a game, then they're in good shape. And they haven't had a game, even the Denver game last week. They gave up. The offense led to had some turnovers that led to some points, but they weren't just terrible last week. So they haven't had any of those games, with the exception of Denver, if you want to say, there where they just looked like a train wreck out there from the second they walked on the field, which was pretty much the norm last year. I remember games where they'd give up 27 or 28, and we'd be like, well, you got to win those games whenever you do, because that's what the defense is. So yeah, just the total turnaround on that side is what it is. Because if even after a bad year going in, you think, you've got all these offensive weapons, you should be good on offense, which they are. So whatever you get out of the defense is a bonus, especially like you said, they're probably working with 80% of the same defense as last year. Just sometimes, coaching makes a big difference. And I think that's been part of it this year, along with guys stepping up and making plays.
By the way, Javier is in the house or outside the house to update you on our Christmas lights situation. That's why I'm JP Christmas Lights Heath. The Heaths spending some coin this holiday season with the new house. Why not go big or go home, right? Just like this Cowboys one and done maybe season of getting out to SoFi Stadium again. So I know you were gripped. You were wondering if Javier would make his way for the Christmas lights. Well, Josh, he is making his way. So if indeed I have to run, that is why. But did want to mention before Javier rings the bell, but I think he's busy for a while. We gave him a lot to do, Josh. But that, oh yeah, you mentioned the play by Diggs, and funny enough, it made me think of that Dak throw. How about that second Dak? That was second quarter, right? When the bloodletting, they're in the middle of it. When Dak lofted that one up for Lamb to run under towards the sideline, that was Dak's best career throw. I thought he's had some great deep balls down the middle, and receivers will make quarterbacks look good some of the time, but most of the time, the way it should be, and especially the way the rules are constructed now, the NFL, it's a quarterback-driven league, and the quarterback has to make – oh, Javier's buzzing me. Javier, you got to wait. I got to get out this sports point. The quarterbacks are going to make the receivers look good, and it goes both ways, but I thought Dak, he was rusty a little bit early. He had those two kind of wonky throws, but as bad as he was, and this goes for the whole team yesterday, he was that great yesterday. He got back to efficient Dak. He is just the dude, the alpha. He is the one that is going to take this team deep. I'm sticking by what I'd said a long time, not to be gloomy Gus on a sunshiny day. You're still going to have to prove a lot to me, but I'm trying to stay present, trying to stay in the sports moment, and just enjoy every game for what it is. So kind of two things for you. Dak is that dude, not that we doubted that before, but I really don't think so much time left. So this is an unfair thing to throw out there. And as you know, we're not hot take men, but we're hot men. We're just not hot take men. But really, with the way things are shuffling in the NFC, there's no reason not to think the Cowboys shouldn't be the number one seed coming up here in a couple of months in the playoffs. That type of game, you have to be careful, like you said earlier, going week by week. The lows of the Bronco games have to factor in too. You're not as bad as that game, and you're not as great as the game against the Falcons. But man, oh man, they showed what they have, and just bouncing back in the way they did. That alone lets me know that they probably have the fast track with the schedule and with the way they played yesterday. They're not going to do it every week, but they should be the number one team in the NFC coming up here soon.
I mean, they have to avoid the games like last week, the Broncos ones, but yeah, they're. I mean, everybody's got two losses at the top now, so I'd assume the Cowboys actually have tiebreakers going forth on that too, since the loss was to the Broncos, a non-conference game, and a non-divisional game was the other one. So, but yeah, if they can keep on playing like this, and I mean, that's a pretty big motivator this year with only having the one bye. So getting that there, I think there's not a whole lot of difference between getting the 2 seed and the 4 seed, like winning the division. But if they can get that 1 seed and be the only team that gets that week off, that's huge. And games like yesterday, especially coming off a loss, because what you worry about coming off the loss is, did they get exposed? Do teams take advantage of this? Go out there, going out there and winning 43-3 is, that's nipping it in the bud and saying no, they can't do this. And hey, there's a cat behind me.
Hey, yeah, and I have Javier. Can you finish your point? I'm going to go talk to Javier really quick. This is very professional podcasting, but go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll come up with something. But yeah, with having that, the teams with 2 losses, the Packers have 2 losses. Not looking at it right now, but you just want to keep on putting distance between you and the rest of the division. I don't think the division's really a problem, but do that. Keep up with the other division leaders, and it's a tough one coming up with Kansas City. I mean, they'd been looking pretty bad a lot of the year, but last night they looked good going into the Cowboys game, which I'm sure whichever network appreciates getting a hot Kansas City team along with Dallas to get that game. The one going into the Thanksgiving Day game against Vegas, where Cowboys can get those two, maybe start putting some distance between them and the rest of the league. And then I guess the other point I was making, you'd said about the Dak perfect touchdown pass, which you thought was his best touchdown pass ever. I thought it was just an okay pass. Like, it was just totally reading the defense the correct way and having confidence that you got a receiver like CeeDee Lamb that's going to be there to make the play. Because when he puts that one in the air, he's got to know that CeeDee Lamb's going to be there. He's going to beat his guy. And by the time he got there, he had just torched the guy and was there in the corner of the end zone to get the catch with the 2 feet down. And that really got him going. Then I think there was a block punt that made it 36-3 at half, and it's a ball game. So I think I've killed as much time as I'm capable of. You're a lot better at this than I am. So
hey, you did good. I didn't hear any of it. I was wondering a couple minutes in. I wonder how he's doing, but I do have to go now. So there's your other update with Javier. We have the Christmas lights getting put up at the Heath house. I was driving by a corner house in our newish neighborhood, and a guy was putting up Christmas lights. We've been looking for someone to do that because, we're just Christmas light folks. And I said, hey, can you give me a quote? And it turned into one thing, turned into another. And now he's outside my door. I did not tell him I was recording a wildly successful podcast to dozens and dozens, but I think we covered all the main stuff with that game. But yeah, I got the schnauzers worked up too. But anyway, Josh, so yeah, that's an abrupt end by Javier, but now I have a breaker out. I got to go find why this is starting out just swell. I've got to find out why we don't have that the power in the garage. You got to get Christmas lights, Josh.
It's not even mid-November yet.
Yeah, but once it gets busy,
yeah, that's true.
And we're not even the first on our block to put up those Christmas lights. And we've got the new house. We never did it at the old East Texas abode. So we're going to do it here. So
it's a good podcast for it. I mean, 43-3, there's only so much you can talk about. I mean, other than that, you're just sitting here saying, boy, the Cowboys are really good. And then I repeat, yeah, they were really good yesterday. Then you repeat. Yeah. So next week might be a little bit more fun with Mahomes and the Chiefs and everything going in there.
Yeah, I think I like it like this a day after, but I could also do it right after the game, whatever works with you. So
whichever's this is easier for me, but whatever.
Whatever, exactly. All right, well, there's the Schnauzer bark, so that means Javier is back to check on me. All right, Josh, thank you much. Can't make this stuff up, can you?
Nope, later. Have fun.
Have a great rest of this day. I'll go chat with Javier. God bless you. God bless Texas. We'll talk to you next time out here on the Texas Porch.